All right, we're back. Joining us right now live from Jack's graduation party is his uncle who couldn't make it today but still wanted to say hello and congratulations. Mike O'Connor, who is a longtime 76ers reporter and personality. Mike, are you there?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Not very well. Not very well. Hold on a second. We're going to have to bring him closer.
I can hear you now.
Where's the speaker?
Can you guys hear me?
Here.
I can hear you, but we're trying to connect, trying to get people to hear you from the microphone held up to a Mac speaker outside. So we're probably not having a lot of luck. Try again. What's up, buddy?
Okay. Not much, man. Thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're not going to be able to hear it with the speaker. So, yeah. Well, I mean, it's just not. You're not going to be able to hear it. It's up to its limit, and
Yeah, I can't hear you.
yeah, Mike, we can't hear you, bro. It's all good.
Okay, you're not getting anything?
Well, I can actually hear you. I can hear you, but you're not loud enough to where if I put a microphone down that anybody can hear. You know what I mean?
Unplug your headset and then
Okay.
jam from the speaker.
So I am putting the microphone down on the speaker, and you can't hear it loud
I'm
enough
not
to where it's
imagining.
right. Yeah, so we can't hear it.
Okay.
All right, unless you can get, like I said,
I mean, I have them on the phone. I can just put my, but
It's-
that's too much.
I think you're gonna run into the same problem.
All good.
All right, sorry, Mike.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
See ya. Hey, Greg, if you can, I'm just saying, if you could connect the Mac, if I could connect the Mac to the speaker, anything that comes out of the speaker, you could hear. But at this point, it's probably would be difficult to do while in the middle of doing this. So let's just roll with it.
Okay.
All right. Well, listen. Couldn't make it happen with Uncle Mike. Is it cool having an uncle who's like a Sixers insider that knows like Joel Embiid? Now, has he ever gotten you anything like cool from the Sixers? Like it was be like, yo, Jack, come to practice with me. You can meet Joel Embiid.
No, I've never been able to go to like any like Sixers facility, but yeah, we talk about like information and stuff. I'll ask him a bunch of stuff all the time.
So you get his insider information and then you use it with your friends.
Yes, yeah.
See, that's pretty cool. Imagine if you had. Oh yeah. So you were on the Eagles field. Well, I gave him a specific ask about Mike if he, I didn't know if he was able to get you insider access, which by the way, I wouldn't be able to get you. So it doesn't, I wouldn't expect him to be able to do it. All right, we'll do it. Listen, congratulations. Be safe down in Tampa. Enjoy what are you doing the rest of your summer? You working, golfing?
Caddying, golfing.
Oh, so I caddied when I was at Huntington Valley Country Club for 2 summers. And it was awesome. I love being in the sun. I'd carry a bag and make like $40 for 3 hours, and a long time ago. And then you get, sometimes you get the high rollers that give you a 20 or a tip or whatever. You make good money, man. Well, good for you.
Yeah,
Good for
thank you. Appreciate having me on.
All right, buddy. Congratulations again. There is. Can we hear it for Jack? Jack O'Connor, it's his graduation party. Matt McCann's gonna come up here now. You, come on up. Now we got it. Everybody, Jack, everybody. What a good kid he is. What a good kid. Now, Jake, now I called you Jake. That's your real name. So Matt is a neighbor here. You live across the street, right?
Actually, no, 3 houses out.
So I parked right in front of your house. You know in Delaware County, if you park in front of somebody else's house, they're not happy with that. I was over my in-laws. They live in Broomall. Well, so I'm in, and there's driveways. It's not like in some parts of Drexel Hill where there's no driveways, right? There's driveways, and I'm in, and so I think it was Thanksgiving. It was the big holiday, and we're sitting in the living room, and my father-in-law, who's 77, man, he's jumping up in a second, being like, "Who's parking in front of the house?" It's like, well, I'm like, where do you want him to park? There's like, there's nowhere else to park. This is the street.
I hear you.
Do you agree? Now, do you agree with that, or are you territorial?
Nah, I really could care less.
Me
As a matter
too.
of fact, I wouldn't even notice it.
Me too. So I know Matt. I once upon a time worked with his brother, Jake, and he was the general sales manager at a radio station. I worked with Jake for a long time.
Yep. And his wife Michaela, right?
And Michaela, his wife, was a sales rep, so I've known them a long time. And then I moved into the neighborhood, and it's like, huh?
I know.
Like
Crazy.
Jake's brother?
Small world.
Yeah, it really is. All right, dude. So you're a Denver Bronco fan. So you're an Eagle fan too. You're an Eagle fan too.
Yeah, I'm a diehard Eagles fan.
But you go in. Matt has a basement. If anybody's been in his basement, where he's got how many TVs?
Well, it's up to 9 now.
9. So he's the 9 TV guy in the basement, and
Just a couple.
and each game. There's more TVs than games at this point.
Well, no. The 1 o'clock games can be 9.
Can be.
Yes, it can be 9. That's why I have 9.
Is there one for Red Zone? Do you do Red Zone?
No, because I want them all on 9. No red zone. So if you want your game on, it's somewhere in that.
Do you have Red Zone though, or you don't?
Well, I do have red zone,
Okay.
but if you have 9 TVs, you don't need red zone.
I'm just saying because if you have all the games, would you want to have Red Zone on top of it? But I guess what the hell?
Right. Well, there's no point if you got them all on at once.
Exactly right. All right, but what was the Broncos player that you were a fan of that became?
It was Elway. Growing up, I was a sports player. I love my teams, but I was always a player guy. I fell in love with Elway. I fell in love with Barkley. I fell in love with Kobe, and I was just diehard to the end with those guys. The Super Bowl for Elway was probably my greatest moment as a kid. And then Barkley never, he never overcame it. And then
Made it to one final.
Yeah, I was cheering for him obviously, and then the Kobe was great. I got a bunch of great years out of Kobe. And like you said, we suffered all those years with the Sixers and the Phillies and the Flyers and the Eagles stinking. So it wasn't until I became an adult really that I started to really dig in and become those Eagles, Phillies.
Back to the Eagles, yeah. Yeah, I thought there's a lot of nationally. There's a lot of Eagles fans. I'm sure a lot of guys out there can relate, or ladies. I don't, it's. But like you have that one player that you love so much, you love the team, and Randall Cunningham for a lot of people outside of Philadelphia was that player.
That's right.
He was the first of his kind African American quarterback, and for a lot of people around the country, they became Eagles fans because of Randall.
True, that's very true. He was exciting. He was one of the most exciting players. I do remember him as a kid.
Yeah, but they never won anything with Randall, and the teams were just.
They never won anything.
I mean, you think about it. Reggie White, the Eagles allowed Reggie White just to leave. They were like, we're not paying. Are you crazy? We're not paying him. What do you mean? It's like, oh, he's the second best defensive player ever. But think about that. That's what the Eagles' ownership was. They wouldn't want to pay these guys.
I know.
They're great players.
That's a great point. I mean, honestly, if you look back at all the failures, it was all ownership, and we haven't succeeded until our ownership turned around.
Yeah. Now, can you imagine if now ownership in this town didn't re-sign and like,
Right.
hey, Jalen Hurts, no, go ahead, walk.
Yeah.
We're not going to stop. Lane Johnson, no, you're getting too old.
burned
We don't
the
want to
city
re-sign
down.
you. Isn't it crazy? Man, and look, now they're winning. Imagine that. You pay
I
the
know.
good players, now they're winning. But it is to be right now, it's a sports fan, as a sports fan, is pretty cool. I promise you when I tell you this, I remember when the Saints won a Super Bowl, what was that, 2009?
Yeah, with Breeze, right?
And I was furious. Because it's like the Saints are winning Super Bowls. I never thought, because my grandfather used to say to me, the Eagles are never going to win a Super Bowl. You're never going to see them win a Super Bowl. And he didn't.
No, I know.
He died an angry man because the Eagles didn't win.
I really feel bad for him.
Right.
I thought I was going to die in anger.
Me too.
I really did.
They were never going to win. And then,
That Nick Foles, Philly.
and now they have another one, and they've been
Yeah.
to 2 out of 3, and it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like it's going to be dead or anything like that. Everybody out there, would you be disappointed if the Eagles didn't win another Super Bowl in the next 3, 4, 5 years? Right?
Yes.
Like, and that's not even being like stupid about it, because you always think your team's going to win, but reality is if they don't, right?
I'll be disappointed if they don't win this year. Honestly, I'm still upset we let go of Slay and Gardner Johnson. The Milton Williams and Sweat, I understand that move, but I don't like losing that secondary and letting those young guys in. I get it. I understand what Howie's doing. He wants to set up 3-4 years down the
But
line.
there's question marks.
I would like to run it back. If you have a chance to run it back.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
All right. What are you having fun at the graduation party so
Oh,
far?
man,
Right?
I'm having a great time.
What do you? So you get some Surfside there.
Yeah, Surfside, black cherry, orange. I'm good. Here we go.
Let's do a cheers right here.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers to it right there. Now, your son Luke is he's not quite graduating. He graduated from elementary school.
No, he's in
Real-
5th grade. He just graduated 5th grade.
He just graduated, and you're getting so old.
Yeah, he's almost a black belt. So watch out. He's 1 belt away.
Thanks for letting me know. No, but he just graduated elementary school.
No. It's 5th.
Fifth still is considered. They go to a different school though.
Yeah.
Seriously. So there's even though you're going to so after 5th grade, do they have a graduation?
It was 4th grade. So 5th, 6th, and 7th is now their own school.
Gotcha.
It's confusing. It's not like when we were kids. It was 1st through 8th, and that was it.
Okay. Now, do you have to have a graduation party if they graduate, like middle school, or
What's that?
do you have to have a graduation party if they graduate middle school, or
So now we have like 3 graduation parties.
Is that live?
Yeah.
this is live, man? You want to say hi? Yeah, come on here. Come in. What's up?
Hi.
You're getting so grown up, dude.
What?
I said you're getting so grown up.
What do you want to say?
Eagles cheer?
You want to do an Eagles chant?
I'm okay.
He's okay. All right, thank you. There he is. Luke McCann, everybody. Look. So
Use the force.
is he a big sports fan? You know what I mean? Like my first memories of life were the Phillies in 1980. I remember them. Whatever reason I remember them winning the World Series and how excited my parents were. That's probably my first. I was not even 4 years.
For me, it was the Sixers in '83. It was. I remember being a kid going down with the parade and being on my dad's shoulders.
You were at the parade, really? Oh wow, that's awesome.
Took me down, and it's like I said, it's a very faint memory because you're 6 years old at that point.
Yeah, you don't remember details, but you remember you were
I
there,
remember it being at the parade.
and you can tell the story.
Yep, absolutely.
Now he's a karate master,
He's the karate master.
right? I bet you're getting there. See, he's humble too. You're raising a good young man. There you go. But now you guys watch sports? Is he a big sports fan, or is he kind of like?
I'm getting him there. It's taking some time. But the 2 things I dreamed about as having a boy was watching sports and Star Wars. I named him Luke after Luke Skywalker.
You
And
dreamed about
It's been a struggle.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's been a struggle, but we got him there. He's now in fantasy football has gotten him into it a little bit. And
Did you do fantasy football?
He does, and he watched the Super Bowl with me the whole entire game, and was really cheering for every first down, and it was a change of the guard there. So proud daddy.
Congratulations.
Thank you, bro.
I appreciate it. Everybody, Matt McCann, let's hear it for him. Hey, there you go. Now, Greg had said that I could use profanity, and there could be some other. That's not. This is a family-friendly show. I have 3 children at home. You can almost see my house from here. It's all the way down that street right there. And my wife definitely was like, you should do it. You should do it. Graduation parties, because now this is something you can do. Birthday parties, weddings, things like that. You just put me up here and let me do a show. Is Jerry Dunleavy in the house? He's going to be the next one to join us up here. Here he comes. Coming up, his son is a baseball prodigy at Spring Ford, and he joins us right now. As you live vicariously with parents that have older children, so it's like, all right, that's what I'll be doing in about 10 years, right? And then when you have the kids and you look and you're like, oh, I remember when, and you're I remember when now. not like that you have adult children or anything like that, but like that's where you are as a dad right now, huh?
100%. So I told my son from a very early age, we're going to do this for as long as you want to do it, and as long as you love it, I'm going to try to find you every avenue that I can to make you better and be the best that you can be. He loves it, and I hate to say I'm that father that just rides his coattails. So vicariously, as you said, right through him.
Yeah, man. So your daughter is she a couple years in college?
He just finished up her sophomore year at Westchester.
Yeah. So I mean, man, it goes fast.
Yeah, this will be Aiden's last year of actual travel baseball. So you get to that point where you start to see the videos of everyone, and when you realize it's actually coming to an end. Hopefully he gets another 4 years after high school with college, but Yeah, this could be it.
Yeah, we just finished softball, and I didn't have the same feeling at the end of the season. I was like, yes, end of the season. Good season, girls. Good season. No, it's a lot of fun because, like, and Gianna is 9, Lena's almost 8, and the baby is almost 4. But watching this last Phillies run with them, going to the World Series and everything else, it's just amazing to kind of see them for the first time be like, Phillies, Phillies, Phillies. And it's how you teach them the game, even though they're playing softball. So now they know that if there's a runner on second, it's not a forced play at third. You know what I mean? Like, they learn so much just watching the game with me at home. And it's like so cool that, and like, I don't have to ask them. They're like, Phillies are on, they're sitting down and they're watching it. So it's like, it's so cool as a parent to be able to got to share that with the kids.
It's absolutely the best. And I will say, John, it's hysterical that for college right now, the super regionals are on for most of the big D1 schools. And Aiden and I, before coming over today, actually just spent the last 2 hours together, just sitting there watching North Carolina play Arizona and just talking through the game and aspects of the game and things of that nature. They're the moments that I'll cherish the most.
Right. I mean, he's been getting private instruction for a while now. Like, I'm sure he has a hitter's coach and things like that. I mean, I just see on your social media, I mean, this kid works really, really hard. And you guys are driving him all over the place and the expense of doing all this stuff. But see, like, as a parent, now you know everything my parents went through. Everything makes sense when you have kids. It's like, damn, I was a pain.
Yeah.
I was a real pain in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, our summer season's about to start, and this summer, I'm going to be traveling up and down the East Coast. So that is our family vacation. It's been our family vacation for the past 10 years. But we'll be in Georgia, we'll be in Maryland, we'll be in New York, we'll be in South Jersey, down to Florida once. That's just how it goes.
What are you drinking there? What are you drinking? You got what kind of beer? Got a Bud Light koozie, but
It's just a Mick Ultra. Trying to watch my girl figure. So,
dude, like, come on.
listen, I'm getting older.
Listen, the days of making fun of somebody because they're drinking a White Claw or a High Noon, they're about 5, 6, 7 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, I'm drinking Miller Lite up and drinking a beer. I don't need some big husky IPA to feel like I'm a man. I know what I am, Jerry.
No, I'm the same way. I'm Irish and I'm still going Mick Ultra. So
So are you a big Phillies fan?
yes.
What do you think? What do you think of what's going on right now? I mean, it's so crazy because if you look at their record, you're like, all right. Because honestly, I don't like, as long as they kind of stay where they are right now, how they're playing in September really is what's going to dictate how they are in the playoffs. I mean, think about it. They were so good in the first half last year, and then they were 500 post the All-Star break, and you knew going into the playoffs they were in trouble. So, like, right now, I just try to manage everything day to day without going too crazy over watching.
It's a complete Jekyll and Hyde right now. I mean, they look like, my son's baseball team could actually beat them right now. They're just playing bad fundamental baseball, and that's it. They're not hitting. Harper, unfortunately, even being on the IL as we put it now, hasn't hit really all year. Trey Turner is a catastrophe at shortstop. They're now talking on putting him in center field to kind of solve that problem, and bringing Crawford into the mix, and maybe getting him in the outfield. But it's tough, but it goes a lot of how the pitching goes. Luzardo he was terrible his last 2 outings. The corn rolls didn't help.
Yeah, I don't really think I've ever seen anything quite like that. Everybody went up 2.5 points in 2 starts.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
And Aiden and I were at his last start prior, the 23-1 or 23-5, I guess it was. We left after it was 17-1.
So you had tickets for that game?
We were sitting in that game, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we left after the.
See, that's my luck.
Yeah.
I go to those games. I'm never the 11-2 lapper where they score 9 of the runs in the first 6 innings. Ever. No, ever. So yeah, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that was the worst part.
How long does it take you to get home from a Phillies game?
Well, when you leave in the 6th inning, it's 40 minutes. It's not bad whatsoever.
Right, but that's my buddy lives in Lansdale. He went to the one of the last day games. It took him 2 hours and 20 minutes to get back home. Now there was an accident somewhere. I guess he has to take the blue route once, but still, man, like it is, and it is a nightmare trying to leave that complex.
It's brutal. I'm actually a little more scared. Aiden is actually playing Monday in the Carpenter Cup. So we have to go down to FDR Park Monday morning. So we got to take the Schuylkill and deal with all of the rush hour traffic.
Get out of here. So who are they playing?
They're going to be playing Mercer County.
Oh,
Yeah. So
what's the scouting report on Mercer? Good.
honestly, I have no idea. So basically, the cool part, from just a memory standpoint, is if they win 2 games, the semifinals and the finals are both played at Citizens Bank Park.
Right.
So, that's very cool just to say, hey, I was part of that. And if you happen to make it that far, another memory in itself.
All right. Well, listen, man, appreciate it. Thanks for stopping up here. Everybody, Jerry Dunleavy
John, thank
joining
you,
us.
John.
Thank you. As we're live at Jack's graduation party. And has anybody been following the social media feud with the president and Elon Musk? Jeez. Holy cow. What's up, Roland? Roland Olson is now joining us live right up here. Now Roland, we're live on YouTube, but because of the microphone situation, we're pretty much just going to be live here talking into the microphone. Yes.
Hey, Marks Nation.
So you can talk on this. I think it's more important for people here to hear you than anything else.
Hey, Marks Nation. How you doing?
Did it fall asleep there?
We good?
So for those that don't know, Roland Olson is the father of this young puppy right here, and I see them on a daily basis. Poor Roland walking by. Now I've noticed you do most of the walking or all of the walking in the winter, and your wife will do none of the walking in the winter. Would you confirm that, or?
No, I don't think that's true. I do 95% under
Okay.
all conditions.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So I'll see you you have the typical walking times, the morning, mid-morning. So if I'm outside or whatever in the car, I'll see you. Now, you're also the father of not only a local celebrity, but really like a huge star in the world of women's basketball, and that's Lucy Olson, who lives very, very close to the O'Connor houses right here. A star at Spring Ford, which is our school district. Started at Villanova, and then when Caitlin Clark leaves Iowa, she transfers for her final year, which was, I don't know if people know this, how big women's basketball is at Iowa, bigger than men's basketball, and they brought her in because they needed a star that was going to take over. No one's going to replace Caitlin, but still, like, she slid right in there and had a great season. And she got drafted, and she's now in Washington with the Mystics.
That's all correct.
And how is the adjustment to being a pro and being in the WNBA and the physicality of and everything else?
Yeah, I think that's playing in the W. There's a lot of things that come into play. Now this is the first time in Lucy's life that she's able to dedicate her entire day to being a basketball player, where before it was being a student athlete, right? You have to still make your grades, and you still have to show up and get your papers done and your tests done, and you show up to practice and workouts and so forth. It's a big difference between that and waking up in the morning and your sole job is playing basketball. And so I think for Lucy, it's kind of a dream from that perspective. She's dreamed her whole life about doing one thing and one thing only, and that's being a basketball player, and she's finally able to do that.
See, I just would have done the schoolwork like she did. She's very bright. But to your point, like, there's other things other than being a big star basketball player, and this isn't just, oh yeah, she's on the basketball team. No, Iowa women's basketball is a big deal. So she's getting pushed and pulled everywhere, media requests and things like that. Was it because she was a star at Villanova? What was it like for her to go from the atmosphere where she's at Villanova and she's a big star to something on a totally different scale?
Well, I mean, Lucy took a risk. I mean, she would have been the de facto star at Villanova. She had, she really enjoyed her 3 years there. It was a great launching pad for what she was looking to do. But I mean, Lucy wanted to be a pro basketball player. She wanted to extend her playing career as long as she could. She wanted to some point become a coach, and maybe at some point have a family along the way. And when you leave one place to go to another, just like any student would in college, she moved on to a place where she thought she would have an opportunity to really give her a chance to achieve all those things. And, Iowa, I think we can all agree, it was at least in the top couple of places you could go in your life that represented the center of the women's basketball world. And in my mind, Iowa was the place to go. And it just so happened that Iowa was the very first call that she received when her name appeared in the portal. Lisa Bluter called Lucy within 60 seconds of Lucy's name popping up in the portal.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now has Jack O'Connor ever played one-on-one? Does Jack think because Jack's pretty tall? Have you played Lucy one-on-one, Jack? No. 2-on-2.
There's definitely been some battles in their respective driveways. Yeah, what the final score was, I don't know.
All right, so like at what age? First of all, did you play? Because you have good height, you have good size. Your wife is tall as well. Did you play basketball?
Basketball was more of a hobby for me. I was more of a football, baseball guy. Ultimately, I ended up being a volleyball player, and I played on the AVP tour, if you can believe that or not. But
No way.
Yeah, so I did play pro beach volleyball, and but basketball, Lucy managed to overcome all that. The fact that I was not a basketball player.
So like at what's the age? I always wondered this. What's the age where you're like, hey, hon, I think we have something here, right? Not just that they're good because they're the best player on their team, but where you're like, there's something different that's going on here. When did you realize that?
Well, here locally, we had a kindergarten co-ed basketball league, where the girls are playing with the boys, and it's still kindergarten. And, like all sports, the boys predominantly rule at whatever age it is. It just so happened that Lucy showed that she could hang with the boys even at kindergarten. And once she got to first grade, by first grade even, she was already.
Is that right?
She was already first grade. She was playing with second graders, and she was as good, if not.
Well, maybe bring it a little closer to your.
Yeah. So in first grade, she was already showing that she had the ability to compete with kids older, bigger than she was. By the time she showed up in third grade travel, she was already the best player on the team. And I think at that point, it was pretty much game on for her, at least in her mind.
Right. So then it just became whether or not, like, what's the height that she can reach? Collegiately, she's probably going to play when you get into high school. And then in college, you're like, you know what? Then people start talking to you. You start asking opinions. Agents maybe you start talking to, and you're like, yeah, like she's going to be drafted. I was reading that like it was between a couple of players that were going to make the team because they had 3 first-round draft picks. Washington did. So bringing in that many young players in one offseason, depending on the roster, there may be a numbers thing. But she made the team. What was it like? She gets drafted. She goes to, gets drafted, goes to the team. What was that whole process like for her?
Well, it was.
What was it like for you, by the way?
Well, for sure. I mean, it was stressful. Lucy was going anywhere from somewhere in the first round to not getting drafted. So it was clear that it was a huge wild card from that perspective. And, Lucy made the decision. She didn't want to go to New York. She wasn't sure if she was gonna get drafted, and she didn't want to be one of those players that was sitting there waiting to get drafted and go undrafted. So she kind of hedged her bet. She came home for like a 36-hour period. We hunkered down in our basement, watched the draft on TV, and humorously, in part humorously, but in part not, she fell out of the first round. It was getting to be halfway through the second round. She still hadn't been picked, and ESPN said, "All right, we're going to a commercial now. We're going to be back. We're going to interview Paige Beckers when we come back." And it was at that point everybody was like, "All right, we can take a little bit of a break. We can be stress-free for a couple minutes." People hit the refrigerator, got a new beverage. They hit the bathroom. Everybody was jumping on their phone. And then 10 seconds later, they go to commercial break. And Lila, Lucy's younger sister, is like, "Oh my God, Lucy, you're on the TV. Your name's on the TV." So we were all scrambling. There's Lucy got picked. Her.
So you found out from the TV.
The name came. Lucy's name and picture came up on the ticker, and that's how we found out.
And then did someone call like a minute later from the team, or what happened?
You would have thought that would have been great. Lucy heard from the team about an hour later. So I in fairness, they did have 3 first-round draft picks. Maybe they were a little busy scrambling with that. Lucy got. She was the 23rd pick in the WNBA draft. And,
but that is so amazing. Can we hear it for Lucy Olson and Rome? Unbelievable. That is so cool. So, I honestly couldn't imagine being you draft night. Did you? So I can't sit down with stuff like that. I would be pacing. I would probably be driving around in the car. Like I wouldn't. Oh my! Like that must have been a lot for all of you, right?
Well, I'll say this: that 4 years of high school basketball and then another 4 years of college basketball. I think by the time we got to the pro level, I think the stress level had reached. It was. We were hopeful and we were positively thinking that she was going to get drafted and achieve the next level, but high school and college all seemed like an 8-year tryout for the WNBA.
And now she's there. Caitlin Clark brought a lot of eyes to the WNBA, and I'm one of them. Not that I'm going to sit here and lie and be like I watch a lot of games, because I don't, but I do pay attention to a lot of what's going on. And as much as a lot of people want to say, oh, well, Angel Reese, no one watches because of her, I'm seeing a lot of clips online and on SportsCenter because of her, for good or for bad. I mean, she's bringing a lot of eyes to the WNBA too. What has Lucy said about the kind of the physical nature of the WNBA as opposed to college? And I mean, you're talking about pros now. You're talking about much bigger people that she's going up against.
Yeah, I think in Lucy's case, she doesn't really see the physicality from that standpoint. I mean, putting the ball in the basket and playing defense is the same to her. I mean, granted, the women are bigger by and large. You're going to run into the 6'8" Brittany Griners and the 6'7" Asia Wilsons and so forth. But Lucy's not the smallest one on her team either. I mean, so
Yeah.
from that standpoint, she's earned her way into that spot by being durable, playing against players that are bigger, stronger, potentially faster. She still scored 2,000 points in college, 500 rebounds, 500 assists, and you do that, you figure out how to play despite whatever everybody else's physical characteristics are, and the same thing carries over to where she is right now. She feels she belongs, and her intent is to just bring her game to the W.
Are they mean to her? Like, is she getting a little bit of rookie hazing, even though maybe it's not verbal?
No, in Lucy's case, for starters, her team is terrific. She loves all the girls on her team, and if you know Lucy at all, she's very hard not to like. She definitely takes after her mom. If she took more after me, that might be different. But from a player and teammate and team standpoint, she loves the Mystics. And it's competitive. The women are out there, they're battling, and there's pushing and shoving, and there's words exchanged, and there's trash being talked. But it's out that way at every level, pretty much.
Now, will she play? We know Griner was playing in Russia, and you can make more money playing overseas than you can even sometimes make in the WNBA. Is that something she'll think about doing?
Yeah, the season ends in September. It's typical that a rookie will go ahead. Younger players will play internationally, so she has an interview coming up with a team in the Australia League, which plays from October into March. So roughly a 6-month season. And if you think about it, playing in Australia where it's the summer compared to our winter isn't such a bad option. She also has some opportunities over in Spain as well as France. Again, she's overseas. It just comes down to what the fit's going to be. She hasn't made any final decisions.
Right. Australia seems like, if it was Iraq or something like that, I'd be like, I don't know if you. But Brittany Griner went to Russia because they were paying her a lot of money, and I mean, Jesus, look what happens.
Well, some of the better leagues are in Turkey, France for sure, Spain, Italy, Germany, all have terrific leagues. Russia is not on the table right now. Israel has a terrific league. Australia has a great league. They just don't pay as much. Maybe that's because the players all want to go to Australia in the summertime. So, and that's understandable also.
All right. Well, listen, man, it's been fun to watch everything the last couple of years. So congratulations, and sure you're thrilled and so proud of her, and she's such a great young woman too. On top of that, which is the most important thing. You raised a great young woman too. So
Yeah,
congratulations.
thanks for having me, and go Marks Nation. Appreciate it.
There we go. All right, there he is. Let's hear it. Roland Olsen, everybody. We need Jack back up here to close it. Come on, Jack. Let's hear it for Jack one more time, Jack. See, Jack, what you don't know is I'm not the only entertainer here tonight. Your father has also hired somebody Stage left. Summer, everybody. Here comes Summer. I'm just kidding. Did you think Summer was really coming out? So when I went to college in Hawaii, you're going to Tampa, smart move. Now I went to Temple as well, so that wasn't as much fun. But in Hawaii, and my roommate her stage name I'll say was Summer. Her real name was Melissa, but her stage name was Summer. So I actually just a roommate. There was nothing else going on there. She was just my roommate. All right. So don't be roommates with any. Now you're living in the dorm when you go to school, or yeah?
Yeah.
Is that cool? Like, do you have like a roommate or a quad, or like how does the housing work down there? No idea. You don't know.
I forget. I don't.
You don't know.
It's like a suite.
Is it a suite?
I think so,
Yeah, man. Now, is your dad gonna have to drive Uber to pay for your college? Maybe a little bit. No. So listen. So your major is business. You said down there.
yeah.
It's a good major. Because I majored in I'm doing radio, and now nobody. You listen to WIP. You listen to the radio.
Yeah. Everyone. Yeah. I do.
So you listen every day. Your dad tells me you sit in the driveway, even though I'm not on the show anymore. But you sit in the driveway and you listen before you come in. Is that correct?
Yeah. Like so I'll just like if they're on talking about a topic I'm interested, I'll just listen.
You stand. That's what we want. We want people to stay in the car. That's the whole thing. That's exactly what you're looking for. When you hear somebody that says, "I'm in the car and my wife's texting me," what are you doing? Get out of the car. Dinner's ready, or whatever. That's good. Now, be honest. Who was better on the afternoon show, me or Spike Eskin?
Yeah.
Right. You have to say that though. I'm here. Do we?
Actually.
He says Spike. That's all right. I'm not offended.
Oh, yeah.
You say me. I'm just kidding. You're good. You like Spike though, or do you like the show and you tolerate Spike? It's you can be honest.
I'm like neutral about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Spike's my friend, so I wouldn't say anything bad about him. But a lot of people say to me, they're like, "Oh, you go back, Spike," and I'm like, "But you listen to the show. Like, what are you stop complaining about him? You listen to the show." That's very cool. So why did you start listening to sports radio? That's interesting. Or like when?
Well, my dad always listened to it. And I just kind of kept listening.
All right. Well, listen, we're gonna wrap this up. Everybody, can you please one more time? Can we hear it? Who obviously is a very intelligent young man, but O'Connor's you raised a fine young man. Everybody, Jack O'Connor, happy graduation, brother. All right, buddy. All right, that was all live on YouTube. Congratulations. All right, everybody. See ya.